From a young age, he was found in deep meditation.
Earlier in my life, I did not have food to eat or proper clothes to wear. But this second chance that I have got has made me capable of taking care of my entire family.
Gurudev founded the Rural Development Program to empower rural communities globally. Volunteers have created 1,000 model villages in India, providing electricity through solar power in over 90,000 homes. The Youth Leadership Training Program has transformed rural youth from across the globe into leaders of social and economic change.
I was a heavy smoker, drink like a fish, but now, just quit, just take that.
On a mission to conserve the environment, the Art of Living has revived rivers and water bodies throughout India, providing relief to many drought-hit areas.
This region had no drinking water at all. Now it is there in abundance.
This river rejuvenation initiative that we have taken up in Maharashtra has been successfully executed by the Art of Living under Gurudev's guidance.
Tree plantation and cleanliness drives have helped create a greener planet. Natural farming programs have made farmers across India, especially those in suicide-prone districts, debt-free and self-reliant.
Gurudev, by taking up so many initiatives for farmers, you have brought happiness back to our lives. I am very, very grateful to you for this.
Dear Gurudev, if it hadn't been for you and your teachings, my life would look much different than it does today.
It's incredible that you were able to get through to a bunch of people who essentially believed in violence only.
If you see through my eyes, I don't see any bad people per se on earth. The people whom we call as culprits of heinous crimes, there is a victim crying for help inside of them.
Art of Living's prison program has transformed the lives of over 800,000 prisoners world over.
I used to actually look forward to fights. But now since doing this course, I'm a total different person. I can now walk away from a fight.
I also have started to believe in myself that I have an impact in passing on and in doing service. And Guruji, I want to thank you so much for your love. Thank you so much.
The Yes for Schools program in the United States has saved many at-risk inner-city youth from a life of crime.
I lost my sister, I lost my grandma, I lost my great-grandpa, and I didn't know how to deal with my stress. But since the yoga classes started to help me, and I don't feel much about it anymore because I feel happy. Like during the
to have amongst us Srimati Bhanumati Narasimhan, who is the chairperson of the Women and Child Welfare Department of the Art of Living. Srimati Bhanumati Narasimhan, lovingly called Bhanu Didi, Bhanuma. Yeah, she's the sister of Pujya Gurudev Sri Sri Ravishankar ji. So let's welcome her with a big round of applause. I now invite Srimati Jaina Desai ji to give a brief introduction and welcome Bhanuma. Yeah.
Jai Gurudev everyone, and a very good morning and a very wonderful morning, isn't it? So, well, before we begin all the proceedings, we have with us somebody very special. So the Sri Sri Awards is all about heroes, right? Champions of education, heroes of human values. And we have somebody like that with us, Srimati Bhanumati Narasimhan, who we all call Bhanu Didi. She has been, we can give her a big round of applause. So, yeah. So she's been truly a champion and a guiding light for all of us in the art of living. She is Gurudev's sister, but I would say that she has shouldered the growth of the movement with him. I would say step by step, she's matched his pace, and she's allowed and helped the movement to grow in such an incredible manner. You just saw the Love Moves the World. Today we are in 180 countries around the world. Bhanu Didi has taught meditation in all the 180 countries. She's a renowned singer. And more importantly, Bhanu Didi has a passion for education. She is truly a hero and a champion of education and a personal guiding light for so many of us sitting here in the room, isn't it? And it is my, I can speak a lot about Didi, but I would say it's like showing a candlelight to the sun. So I will not do that. The sun shines so beautifully and brightly, and the candle is just something small right there. But Didi has guided, inspired, and blessed so many of us, and especially in education, as I mentioned earlier. Bhanu Didi herself personally runs over 1,200 free schools across the country, taking education to the most remote parts of India where it is much needed, in the most underserved parts of the country. Beyond that, Bhanu Didi has guided the growth of Sri Sri Ravishankar Vidya Mandir Trust, which is running all the paid education institutions, over 120 of them, and all of them are focused on human values, spirituality, mental health, and all of them support the free schools that Bhanu Didi takes forward. So it is my honor, my privilege to invite Bhanu Didi on stage and to invite our beloved President of Sri Sri University, Srimati Rajita Baggaji, to come and felicitate Bhanu Didi on stage. And after that, I'll request Didi to just share one or two. I'd like to invite Srimati Jyoti Harsha, please to join us on stage to felicitate Bhanu Didi along with Rajita Baggaji. Please join us. I'm going to request Banu Didi to just share a few words with all of us, and we look forward to her blessings. Thank you, Didi. Mic is on. Mic is on. On.
Jai Gurudev. So welcome to our ashram. Many of you are here only, but who have come. Don't you think it's beautiful? So just I want to say it's a great moment for all of us, especially, you're all educators here, and also for the education field itself, to have such recognition. Gurudev has given us this platform to recognize something that comes forever. Its eternal connection is what we learn, right? When we are educated, these are the things that we carry along with us, the values that we uphold, is all because of our education. And educators, or you can say our teachers, are really invaluable to us in our life. They play a great role, for especially the children are here, our children, our students, they are just gems, they're sweet like gems. And they shine like gems. Because of all of you, so many of you have contributed towards their growth, and to recognize this wonderful, invaluable service to humanity, Gurudev, we are recognizing, we are giving the Sri Sri Award. They have, SSRVM has come up with this. This is the 3rd year, right? Yeah. And many more years to come. Congratulations to our own self. And as she said, we have 1,262 schools. In fact, 43 years back, we had only one school. We have a flagship school here opposite to our ashram. We have that education campus where we are the first ones before, because SSRVM 25 years, right? We are celebrating. We are 43 years we have been in this, and there's nothing number game, but just to say that every year it's new experience, and new children, new divinity, same divinity in many forms. We are able to be with them. Thanks. We are very thankful to Gurudev for giving us this opportunity, to do some little seva from our side. Alil seva they call it, no? Squirrel seva. Other than that, as I said, this is a day to celebrate education and educators. And I know you have a wonderful panel here. They're going to discuss on mental health, yeah, which is so important, right? Gurudev often says that how a strong mind can carry a weak body, but a weak mind cannot carry a strong body, right? So how to be in that space of a strong mind, good mind. A pleasant mind can create a beautiful world around you, right? When the mind is pleasant. The same mind, when it is grumbling or unhappy, it can also create hell for us. So, mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoh, they say. So, how to deal with this mind, mental health is so important. And we would like to listen from the great thinkers here. And Divya Kanchi, she will definitely lead well. I know her. I also studied little child psychology in college. But other than that, all the best. We are all doing this work. I am also included in that, yes. So I don't feel like all this honor is for everybody. I like the garland, so I'm keeping it. Mallipu is nice. So nice being with all of you. Jai Gurudev.
Thank you, Banuma. That was such a wonderful start, isn't it? Such pearls of wisdom, sheer pure knowledge from from a pioneer in education. And as she rightly said, it's a day to celebrate education and it's a day to celebrate educators, that too in a beautiful place like this. So thank you, Banuma, for your inspiration, for your wonderful words of knowledge. Yes. Sri Sri Awards is an award that recognizes, acknowledges, and honors yeoman service rendered by individuals and institutions for the noble cause of education. The atmosphere here is truly charged with so many intellectuals here. Are we all ready for some food for thought? The world has gone through a very tumultuous period with the advent of the pandemic almost 5 years ago. It has brought about an ocean of change in many aspects of life, some good and some adverse. Of the adverse changes, a very significant one is that on mental health. It's a great cause of concern for each one of us present here, as it's taking a toll on the younger generation. Strategies and solutions to deal with mental health is the need of the hour. Let's all enrich ourselves with a panel discussion on the topic, mental health as a foundation for learning. Why does it matter? I now call upon the team of panelists led by the moderator, Srimati Divya Kanchi Botla. Yeah. Srimati Divya Kanchi Botla is a scientist, educator, and leader with a BTech and MTech in biochemical engineering and biotechnology from IIT Delhi and a master's in molecular and human genetics from Baylor College of Medicine, USA. An Art of Living trainer for over 20 years, she has held pivotal roles in the organization, including national coordination for the Art of Living trainers and the director of Sri Sri Institute of Advanced Research, where she has spearheaded over 200 groundbreaking studies on meditation, gut microbiome, biological aging, and yoga for children with disabilities. Collaborating with over 70 institutions globally, she has served as Research Director of the Indian Yoga Association and is an advisory board member of the Happiness Center at IIM Jammu. Currently, Divyaji leads the development of a network of higher education institutions under the Sri Sri Ravishankar Vidya Mandir Trust, advancing holistic education in India. So I call upon our panelists, Dr. Uma Nambiar. Dr. Uma Nambiar is an accomplished neurosurgeon and a visionary healthcare administrator. She serves as the CEO in the Indian Institute of Science Medical School Foundation, Bengaluru, and is recognized for her contributions to healthcare innovations and quality patient care. With decades of expertise in clinical and administrative leadership, Dr. Nambiar is a frequent speaker at global healthcare forums and a champion of digital health transformations. Welcome, ma'am. Dr. Shekhar Seshadri. Dr. Seshadri, our next panelist. I invite Mallika ji to felicitate Dr. Uma Nambiar. I call upon Dr. Shekhar Seshadri. Dr. Seshadri is an eminent child and adolescent psychiatrist, former senior professor at NIMHANS, Bengaluru, and a pioneering voice in mental health and child protection. With an illustrious career dedicated to clinical excellence and public advocacy, he has influenced policies and interventions to improve mental health outcomes. As a key member of the NIMHANS Child Protective Initiative, Dr. Seshadri is celebrated for its transformative work in creating safe environments for children. I request the CAO of SSRVM Trust, Ravi Prakash ji, to felicitate Dr. Seshadri. I invite the next panelist, Dr. Chetan Singhai. Dr. Chetan Singhai is a prominent academic and thought leader in public policy and higher education. Currently serving as the Dean, School of Law and Governance, Chanakya University, Bengaluru, he brings a wealth of experience in policy research, governance, and capacity building in academic institutions. He has made significant contribution to the making of the National Education Policy 2020 and the National Curriculum Framework 2024. A highly sought after speaker, Dr. Singhai is dedicated to driving impactful educational reforms and fostering interdisciplinary research. I request Ravi Prakash ji to felicitate Dr. Singhai. I call upon our next panelist, Mala Sundareshan ji. Mala Sundareshan ji was a player of the Indian women's cricket team and has coached many state teams. She also ran 10 low-cost English medium schools for 7,000 slum children across India. She is a seasoned meditation practitioner and a senior instructor with the Art of Living Foundation, specializing in emotional resilience, stress management and personal growth. She has touched lives globally through her workshops. With a passion for holistic well-being, Mala inspires individuals to lead balanced and fulfilling lives, making her a sought-after trainer and a mentor for the youth. I call upon Mallika ji, the administrator of the Sri Sri Nursing College, to felicitate Mala ji. I now hand over the proceedings to Divya ji.
Thank you, Mamta ji. It takes a minute sometimes for technology to work, although we work with technology all the time. It's a privilege and an honor to invite our panelists and the audience for this panel discussion on mental health as a foundation for learning and why does it matter. In today's world of extreme competitiveness, when I cleared JEE, in 1996 I cleared JEE. In that year, only 10,000 kids wrote JEE, and there were about 1,000 seats available for us. But today, the number of kids writing JEE and NET and the medical examination is so much higher, isn't it? I look at my nieces and nephews, and their world is different than what was my world when I was studying for competitive exams. And the AI, the technology that has come in is completely changing the ball game of education. It's completely changing the way education works. You know, I think in the last few years, everybody was so focused on the pandemic, but there has been a silent revolution in the field of education, where the way education works has completely changed. And is changing. It has not, the change is not finished, it's ongoing, we're in the middle of it. And in all this, mental health is another pillar of concern that has emerged in the world today. With statistics like 75% of children in India feel stressed. They feel stressed either because of school pressure or extent of homework. 75% of children are reporting stress because of academics. And we think burnout is very prevalent in professions like doctors. You know, we think, oh, when we think burnout, we think, oh, medical professionals. But teachers suffer more or equally from burnout. So mental health and learning, what is the correlation between the two? We'll explore this in this panel. And I'm very privileged to have such eminent speakers with us, sharing the stage with us today. And I invite them for their opening remarks. So first I'll invite Dr. Uma Nambiar to give us a few, set the framework for the discussion, give us her opening remarks. Thank you, Dr. Uma.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for calling me here and be part of this gathering and such a wonderful panel. So I would just like to say two sentences in my opening, is that learning is not limited to an age or when we are lifelong students, and I think from the day we are born, we are continuously learning. Because learning is nothing but what brain processes as information around us. So if you look at it from that moment on, the day we are born, we are learning. And at different stages, we handle different scenarios in our life. That impacts the ability of the brain to process simultaneous learning. And I think that is what we are going to discuss today, how that challenges us in different stages of life. So I'm looking forward to this discussion.
Thank you, Dr. Rama. I really look forward to hearing more about, I think the audience looks forward to hearing what really happens in the brain. What is the science of learning and how does the mental health play a role in it? Very grateful you are here. I invite Dr. Shekhar Sheshadri ji to share a few words with us.
I'm a little conscious of the fact that other than teachers, there are quite a few students present here. Therefore, I'm constrained to be a little circumspect in what I would like to say, because my intention is not to alarm anyone here. I also do not wish to be a prophet of doom, but let me tell you that child and adolescent mental health is a ticking time bomb. I already see 3 pigeons here who are part of these proceedings. I hope that in the old tradition of communication of messages, they will carry whatever is being discussed here today to the rest of at least the city of Bangalore. What is the purpose of education? Literacy, numeracy, career, livelihood. I have no argument with any of these. But let me submit to you that the true purpose of education is the development of an egalitarian personhood, the development of a socially responsive and responsible citizen, and the development of a personality that is imbued with aesthetic sensibility about life, nature, art, music, dance, relationship, emotions, and so on. And the moment these are compromised, you compromise with the emotional well-being of a child. It is my submission to you, therefore, in my opening comments, that for many children, especially those who come from adverse childhood circumstances, school is the safest space to be in, and we have a collective obligation Therefore, to sustain and maintain the emotional well-being of children, I will expand more on this thesis as we go along in the rest of the panel. And thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Seshadri. We really look forward to hearing your thoughts. Malaji?
Yeah, Jai Gurudev. Coming to education and me, they are, if you look at it at the traditional education and what I have done in my life, they are at the opposite poles. And I studied architecture but did nothing with it. I played cricket all my life and I don't know what I'm doing in education. But I'm here with a big smile. And I'm here to learn and to see what can be done to make everybody smile. And I think all the things Professor Seshadri very nicely said, it's not just what we learn from the books, but so much more as a person, as an individual, as a human being, how we could look at life. And there comes the question, okay, we know the problems, what are the answers? And being with this organization, being part of this global, revolution that Gurudev is bringing in, perhaps the answer is to make sure that everybody is smiling, and the techniques, the tools that are given here, how it would help. And that is what I would be elaborating a little later, and bringing the aspect of, vidya dadati purnatvam. And here the purnatvam is completeness, and how we can be complete as human beings. Jai Gurudev.
Wonderful. Thank you, Malaji. Look forward to hearing yours, experiencing maybe some solutions also today. Dr. Chetan.
Surrendering myself to Sri Gurudev Ji. Dr. Seshadri, I would assure that I'll be the fourth pigeon to take your message forward to wherever I go and see the best coming out. And I hope this pigeon also flies over the policy makers. I'll try my best. Well, I think the three larger areas of our concern today is largely backed by our understanding that earlier times, much before the pandemic, mental health was seen as more of a science issue. Today it has become a household conversation. I think that is where the policies that we are referring to in our discussions, that will come through in our questions and answers that we would like to engage with, would tell us that how this gap between the lab to household has been now bridging, and that's where an opportunity lies, instead of seeing that as a challenge. That is the first thing I would like to emphasize as my opening thought. Second, the children who are sitting here in the portals of the school to going to higher education, and the teachers who are part of the school education, and those who get into higher education in terms of their learning for a degree or their future aspiration for pursuing their higher studies or maybe getting into the portals of higher education. One thing you should be thoughtful about is education is not a watertight compartment. It is not segmented by labels. It is supposed to be seen as a continuum. And that's where the major gap that exists on mental health lies, which I would like to emphasize also further. And the third aspect is, often we expect the teachers to be the first point of contact to engage issues of mental health. I think now it's time that society as a whole come together and see how a neighbor to a household, to a neighbor, to the society at large can be equally participating. And that's where we need to be thoughtful about the fact that we should not aim towards standardizing mental health issues. It cannot be standardized. It has to be localized. It has to be contextualized. And that's where I would like to come in with a specific reference of the NEP and the National Curriculum Framework, how it accounts these 3 points, what I just said. So I would look forward for the moderator to moderate us to the extent that you get the best out of us, and looking forward for other discussions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chetan. I think something you said was so true, that I think many people sitting in this hall, of course, are very young, but there are people in their 30s and 40s. When we were growing up, I don't remember stress being a part of my vocabulary, at least till I got into IIT. I remember tension a little bit before the exams, using that word tension, but I don't remember using stress. And if you take your mind back, people, you know, the adults sitting in the room, I don't think most of us use that word when we were growing up, but that's not the case with children today, right? And so many of the children who are brilliant, I mean, many of the young people in the room, I want to ask you this question. You study so hard, you do everything, but when you go to test, when you go for exam, sometimes the result is not what you expect. Does that happen to anybody here? Has happened to anybody here, right? So my first question to Dr. Uma is this. You know, stress, a lot of research and science talks about the impact of stress on the body, or what it does to your heart, what it does to your blood pressure, and in adults. But there is science that around stress and learning and the brain. Could you share a little bit of that with us today? How stress impacts learning? Yeah.
Yeah, so this is segueing from what I actually started off. That brain is in the process of continuous learning, right? So we are processing information all the time. So there is a steady state at which the brain needs to be in order to process that information. Now, we all know that to be brilliant, you know, we think that, okay, we have our cortical abilities which allow us, that's our intelligent part of the brain that, you know, makes us analyze things. But there is also a part of the brain that is working without and actively us being aware of it, which is our autonomic nervous system, which is our emotional limbic system, which is our ability to, say, process our emotions. And all that actually affect our steady state of the brain, okay? And also our ability to adapt to newer systems and to change our learning looking at the circumstances of what we are being pushed into, which is the neuronal plasticity. Now all these, and the neuroendocrine system, which is our neurohumoral factors, you know, when we are stressed, the various hormones that get released and how they get released. So it's a very complex, interactive, you know, situation within the brain at every minute that we are living. And that affects us. So when we look at a class, I mean, when we are teaching students, you realize not everybody in the class has the same ability to understand what we are saying or uptake what we are saying. And we classify them as slow learners, fast learners, not interested in learning. Actually, that is not true. The learning speed and the ability to learn, it is determined by that individual's brain working in a particular environment for which that particular individual is exposed to. So, say for, you know, let's say for Chetan and mine, exposures in life are different. If we are both put in the same class, we will understand and take home different messages. Okay, so therefore, for us to then be looking at the student and be judgmental is not right. And therefore, we need to take this into account when we are teaching, so that everybody understands what we are trying to teach them and take them back home. And this is, you know, how individuals' brains really have a background in the way we learn and we grow up.
Thank you, Dr. Uma. I think for the children, for the young people in the room, not children, sorry, for the young people, I'm not that old, but I feel very old, so sometimes I say children, but young people. So I wanted to say one thing that Dr. Uma said about autonomic nervous system is that one thing, if I could say in a very simple language, is that when our brain is stressed, it makes more mistakes. So sometimes in our exams, we prepare really well, but we make silly mistakes. And I think that happens when we get stressed. And one of the research studies that was conducted when I was the research head for the Art of Living till about a few months ago was on SSRVM school. So we took the students from SSRVM school. We took about 300 students from SSRVM school and compared them in their cognitive functions to the children of a comparative school. and we made them undergo multiple cognitive tests like, RPM, and there are multiple tests, standardized tests, which are used to test cognition. And what we saw was that the children in SSRVM not only took less time to finish, but they made less mistakes compared to the children out in the other school who were not practicing yoga meditation. So sometimes it's great to be intelligent, but it's also important not to make mistakes, right? So thank you, Dr. Ruma. Now, Dr. Seshadri, coming to the manifestation of this environment that the brain functions in, the mental health, could you tell us what kind of correlation in your experience have you seen between poor mental health and learning outcomes, and how does a mental space of a child impact learning in a day-to-day basis? What have you observed, if you could share?
Divya, let me address this by stepping back a little and putting a frame of reference that beads in what Chetan and Dr. Uma have said, particularly teacher being the first point of contact and the whole issue of learning that both Dr. Uma and you have alluded to. The brain makes more mistakes when it is stressed, and in a classroom of 30 or 40, not all children come with the same attention and ability, maybe even on a given day. But I want to step back and present to you a larger frame of reference. When children cross the school gate, they are not an amorphous mass of humanity. This is a child who comes from a happy home. This is a child who is worried about a loving grandmother's health. This is a child whose parents have significant discord. This is a child who's experienced a loss experience. You don't know that. You're assuming that they all have the same attention and the same frame of mind when they come in. This is not, and teachers may argue to say, excuse me, sir, I don't have the time every day to spend 40 minutes of my 50-minute class asking, "Kaise ho bete aaj? Acha, nani ki tabiyat theek ho?" Because I have to teach math or I have to teach my subject and so on. Remember what Mark Twain said, "Nothing that grieves can be called little. In the eternal laws of proportion, the loss of a doll for a child and the loss of a crown for a king are events of the same magnitude." So do not trivialize children's loss experiences. Now, coming back to the point that Chetan made, the teacher as the first point of contact. Here, Divya, is a 37-year-old techie who comes back to school and meets his teacher who's on the verge of retirement and says, "Teacher, do you remember me?" Sorry, child, I don't, because he was a cherubic-looking guy, and now, he's like got a beard and one earring. But I have never forgotten you. I don't know if you recall, horrible home circumstance. Truth be told, I have not reconciled with my family. I managed to go abroad to the US and I'm a software engineer now. I don't know what it is that you saw on my face that day when there was a particularly bad incident at home. You did me the dignity of calling me aside quietly and asking, "You look a little out of sorts, child. Is anything the matter?" And I told you what had transpired. It's not that you did anything great, but you just said, "It must have been so difficult to carry that burden inside of you. I'm happy that you told me." And teacher, I have never ever forgotten that act of kindness. You have no idea, my friends, how you can change the trajectories of children's lives by one moment of empathy. The other issue is, look at a young child who comes to a class, looks at the teacher, and enthusiastically says, "Good morning, teacher." The teacher may be dealing with her own burden or his own burden and stress, and the teacher does. Now imagine what switch you're putting on in the child. Does she not like me? Did I do anything to offend him? Is he angry with me? Will she not talk to me again? Oh God, what do I do now? As we speak of responsive parenting, if there is not responsive teaching, it becomes an issue. Two final thoughts on this. I wrote a newspaper piece once. I said, rejoice, it's examination time. Funny, isn't it? No one ever thought of examinations as a joyous experience. There's always a sense of doom, disaster, and finality around it. Whereas examinations should actually be a celebration of learning. It never is, because you prioritize outcome, success, and achievement over effort and process. I have a friend, my classmate from school. He was the director of a consortium of 6 schools, and I told him, कि यार थंगा, तू examination मेला क्यों नहीं करता यार? You hire a field, or you put up stalls there. 2 teachers will stand in the entrance throwing rose water on children as they enter, and you know, mathematics stall, history stall, open book, you know, celebration. And he said, yaar, tu bhi mazak karta hai, yaar, my admin will never agree to this kind of stuff. Therefore, for life skills as a method to deal with the manifestations of stress in a classroom situation, whether it is on performance or whether it is in peer interaction, or simply the development of a child's personality as a citizen, what a teacher needs to do is a teacher has to really work at 3 levels. At a conviction level, at a comfort level, and at a competence level. Am I convinced that mental health and emotional well-being is an important part of my obligation? Oh, I did not sign up for this. You know, I'm a math teacher. I'd rather focus on good results. At a comfort level, I know it's an important issue, but mental health scares the hell out of me, especially if a child were to tell me that I feel suicidal or I am being abused. And then at a competence level, and that's where school mental health and teacher training comes in, particularly at universal interventions, which is whole class life skills, whether or not you have an issue. If you were to face it, how do you deal with it? And then at an indicative and at a targeted level. Now, all these links are available in the initiative that I'm running now. It's a government initiative. It's a national initiative on child protection and mental health. For those of you who have a good memory, the link is nimhanschildprotect.in, nimhanschildprotect.in. It's a public domain free access website, because we don't believe in copyright, we believe in copyleft, or copy left, right, and center. There is no point in developing material and holding on to it. Please use it, send it, translate it, adapt it, just acknowledge us. A final thought on the issue of the differences that Dr. Uma referred to in a given classroom situation. And I speak of equity in terms of how a teacher deals with learning potentials and the mental health impact that it has on a child. I particularly refer my friends to the increasing concern that all civil society, education boards, and the government of India has on the quota situation. Divya referred to JEE and NEET and so on. These are kids who come from different parts of the country, carrying with them the expectations of their family and their own. My friends, I call this as the tyranny of expectations. And we have heartbreaking letters written by kids saying, Papa, Shama kare, humse hoga nahi. Now, the point is, for a teacher there to say, itna bhi nahi aata, or exam dene aaye ho. Now, can you imagine what that does to the confidence of a child, and what it does to destroy the kind of confidence that that kid may come with? So we have a huge obligation to create an ecosystem that accommodates the differential that Dr. Uma referred to, and accommodates the points that Divya made about how stress causes the brain to make more mistakes. So make learning fun. Professor Yashpal called it learning without burden, and he used the term the tyranny of expectations. And how do we mitigate that?
Thank you, Dr. Sheshadri. That was so many relevant things you said. So, Dr. Chetan, I have a question for you. So, what does NEP say about examination mela and, making it like a festival rather than making it so, like you said, so doom and gloom? So, please do share with us a little bit about, what is the NEP? When I hear about NEP and NCF, I only hear curriculum, I hear pedagogy, I don't hear the word mental health. So, maybe there is something hidden in there which we don't know, which you would like to share about?
Well, absence of something doesn't mean it is not important. It is very much there, but I think, let me take a cue from Dr. Sheshadri, who rightly mentioned that if you want to look at rejoicing examination, how does it happen? See, the first meeting of the NEP started with Dr. Kasturangan setting a very interesting target for us. He said, can you all think of making a child run to school and walk back home? Not run to home and walk back school or walk to school. It's a very interesting thing. Like today children, they are like, when they're going to school, they are either crying, either they are, sort of telling that I don't want to go today and, something, all this kind of experiences. And when they come to home from school, they are so joyful, right? Because unlike the days when we were able to run to school and then walk back home, in fact, I used to stretch my time, additional time at school to play or to engage with my friends. But today, the tuitions are waiting. The additional, skill sets of music, art, everything is waiting for them when they come home, and hardly they get time to interact. But anyway, that was the pitch at which the whole momentum about making policy was built. And I think that statement that I shared is a sample of the fact that how the committee was keen on looking at this component from day one. Secondly, the shift towards summative to formative assessment. See, yes, there is a challenge in the transition, and the challenge is not with the learner, the challenge is with the facilitator in terms of the transition. Because learners by birth, they are very much aware of how to assess oneself. Only when they come to the school structures, they tend to get exposed to something which they are not used to. And that is where the summative assessment comes, and that's where the rose water has to come in to assure them on the fact that examinations are fun. And that formative assessment is not just teachers' endeavor, it is a collective endeavor. That is, the parents and guardians are equally important, the neighborhood is equally important. That is what NEP strongly recommends. I'll give one instance of the fact that the link between NEP and the NCF, the curriculum, which is an action point of the policy, where the policy is the vision, but the action is in the curriculum framework. For instance, when I teach wildlife to a child of any age, that's the spirit in which the NEP is coming, the age appropriate, development appropriate curriculum, pedagogy and all, which is now the shift that is happening. When I teach wildlife, I should not take Amazon forest as an example. Because what a child in Bangalore or other place look at Amazon is a box, right? Of course, there was one incident of a snake in a box, that is one exception, but the idea is to expose them to Bandipur, Jim Corbett. At least in lifetime, the child has a chance to go there. So there is this notion that I'm not learning something which I can't imagine to be, but rather be there and experience it. Experiential learning, which you also flagged in your point. So the last point in the larger spirit of policy to practice component, I think one, we are seeing a shift in terms of the formative, summative and all. I strongly believe in this recommendation of NEP that school culture and processes has to change very much. And that's also in the document both. For instance, we should not, and let's take a resolve today in the larger blessings of Gurudev, that we'll not put up the boards of school toppers in front of the school, right? So let's take a resolve. It's a very challenging thing. It's a hard thing to do because it's a catch-22 situation in a way. But I think this whole hoarding of toppers in front of the school creates unwarranted competition, which NEP strongly resists, saying we should not get into these things. For instance, now it's the time for practice. How can we bring that to action, right? So I think the framework is there, the vision is there. Now it's the practice which has to be come into the picture. And I'm sure all the points that are being raised and will be raised will again give directions for practice to policy linkage. So this is my few cents of thoughts to share.
Very nice, Dr. Chetan. I love how, both you and Dr. Sheshadri, Dr. Roma, you are sharing such, I'm sure the audience is already finding this thought-provoking. Otherwise, what everybody wants to do is topper. Yes, in our school, 5 people cleared JE and then put their photos there.
Small point to add there, with the same spirit. I think we should get over that old Onida TV advertisement ad. Do you remember that?
No, which one?
Neighbors envy owner's pride. That's what is happening. Exactly, yes.
Very nice.
That's surf also, Lalita ji. Uski sari meri sari se safed kaise?
Uski sari meri sari se safed. Dr. Singha, you spoke about practice, and that brings me straight to Malaji. Perfect. We've spoken about so much about mental health, and the attention span is decreasing steadily. The new research says that a human attention span is now comparative of a goldfish. It's like 8 seconds. And that's why if you see Instagram, the reels used to be very big, and now they're smaller and smaller and smaller because nobody wants to see anything which is more than 15, 20 seconds. Given that, and given the, the pressure on the kids, what solutions do you think are inbuilt in children or can be provided to children using natural ways? Please do share with us a little bit about that.
Yeah, before directly going into that, I would like to, like the points that were raised by all the three, saying that children are different, but the teacher is the same. The learning that the teacher gives is the same in that context, in that environment. And each child takes home a separate thing, and putting their names as toppers, this, that, how much of pressure it is building on the kids, or the expectations of the teacher and the parents and the community in itself being so much. They have already spoken about so many things as solutions, but I think from what I have seen in schools and my interaction with kids, there is competition to some extent. We cannot ignore that. There are people who are going to say things. You are not good enough, itna hi hai, aapko nahi pata hai, what are you doing, all these things. But how can the child or the individual still be strong enough to say, it's okay, I am going to become better. I am going to see what I can do about this situation. How do we build that resistance? How do we build that unshakable confidence that I am going to become something in my life? Because that is where the question is. When that is shook inside them, I feel that is when stress comes in, the attention span comes down, because there always that line is going on in the head. The anxiety comes in, the fear comes in, oh, exams. As he rightly said, why can't we make exams a mela? Absolutely fantastic. A small unknown fact, I used to teach university kids for 7 years. And you won't believe, I used to take a computer in my car to teach them graphics. One computer for 50 kids of architecture students. And we used to have these open book things. We used to sit outside under the tree and learn. Those kids, even today, as he said, they come and meet me and say, we know you, but I don't remember them honestly. To bring that into the teacher also, to be so innovative, to be so different and say, it's okay, we will learn through anything and everything. How can we do that? How do we bring that common minimum factor where the child is strong enough to take criticism or some amount of, challenges in life and still go ahead? I think that's where the techniques of what Gurudev Sri Sri Ravishankar has given to entire humanity comes into play. Just breathing for 3-4 minutes, anxiety can come down. A very small technique called a straw breath. Yeah. A very small technique like a straw breath or a concentration pranayama, which is 3 minutes. They can do it before the exams or before any event, any presentation, anything that they are doing, which makes a shift in their confidence levels, in their mind being calm. You know, all of us are intelligent. The intelligence is in different things. And if you are intelligent in one thing, it reflects in others also, to some extent, when you have that confidence. And to understand that, the mind has to be calm. The mind has to be settled. And that is where Sudarshan Kriya and the pranayamas, which are age-specific, which we teach in our programs, the Utkarsh Yoga and the Medha Yoga programs, really, really benefit kids. Divya, just to share, I think across the world, if you see here itself, we are about 150,000 students who are doing the programs every year. But even otherwise, in other schools, we touch more than 800 to 1,000 schools in a year. And I myself used to have these programs for the slum children who come from very underprivileged backgrounds, very difficult families, who have no clue of education, more or less like the schools. We have the free schools. When guests used to walk in to our school, they would say, hey, there is something different in the environment here. And that was simply because everyone in the institute, in that school, used to practice breath work and Sudarshan Kriya. They would say, we feel so good here, we feel so light, happy. Now that light, happy environment is there in all these schools that we are seeing here, along with so many other schools that have implemented our programs. And I think we should give them the gift of science of breath to handle all these situations. Yes, the policies have to change, teachers have to change, the education system have to change, but at the root cause, at the level of the individual, if we can give these tools to the individual, we can see a huge shift in the way they address. So together, we can go towards a very, very happy human being.
Thank you, Mala. You know, it's like if you want to learn swimming, you can read 3 books about it, but then you won't really, unless until you jump in the pool and experience it, you're not going to be able to swim. So I think providing children and adults an experience of what a simple technique around breath can do to calm their mind, to improve their well-being, has a tremendous impact. In fact, another research study on SSRVM that we conducted showed that children who study in SSRVM schools, who practice breath work, Sudarshan Kriya every day, have 6 times lesser issues around hyperactivity or peer-to-peer problems or emotional problems than their peers. 6 times less. That's significant. Because they are from the, if you want to clap, we can clap nicely. Those people also clap, we didn't support them. So it also wakes everybody up a little bit. So just providing them a little bit of a solution. But the thing is, the world is changing. So Dr. Ruma, now in this world of AI and personalized learning, learning is not something that is restricted to schools. As you said, it's lifelong. Also, the component of AI is coming in. There's a lot of talk about, even in NEP, about personalized learning. So how can we develop structures that support that, but also support one's mental health? How can we do that?
Yeah. So thank you, Divya. Very interesting discussions that are happening. So it's a lot of learning for me, because it's a little bit removed from what I normally do on my day job. Okay. So yes, today what resonates with what Malaji said, that okay, there is, we have our self-learning and our biofeedback mechanisms and all that help us to maybe improve our concentration and improve in our learning ability. But looking at the fact that your attention span is getting less, looking at the fact that our stress factors are increasing on a day-to-day basis, and in a world where we grew up, our learning ecosystem was teacher and us. Then the ecosystem increased to it became a triad where parents were expected to do homework for the children, not just assist. And then now we have to have the community as well part of it, because many children don't have, they're missing pieces in the triad. Teachers are also getting more stressed out. They don't have time to spend on children and pay individualized attention. The class sizes have increased. When we grew up, a class had 15 to 18 kids. The 20 kids means a section B was born, and more teachers were taken. Today, sections are like 50 kids, new section is born, new teachers are not taken. So life is really quite a messed up situation when it comes to many schools. But technology is growing rapidly, and all of us are open to the fact, and thanks be to COVID, we are also very now digital savvy. So if one thing has happened, one good thing about COVID is that it has brought the communities closer, at least in the digital world. So we are starting to use technology. We've understood that the newer technological development, especially in the field of AI, can augment learning, and therefore can we use the AI algorithms can be written to ease some of this burden that is coming on us. Now what did we say? Let's try and see, can all the children in the class understand a particular topic to the same level? Now what are the determining factors in this? All children have a different ability to intake. Can I have an AI algorithm on a learning management platform which can individualize learning? So that if 4 of us are living in a class, and all of us use the same technology, we go through an assessment. The technology understands that I'm a 2 by 10 learner, she's an 8 by 10 learner, he's a 7 by 10 learner. In the same class, I get more time to assimilate. I get a slightly different method of teaching. So it is at a slower pace, it is explained in more detail, while she's learned and run away with it, but I am learning at my own pace, and I'm comfortable with that space. I'm not competing with her. I'm not in the same space. I'm not sitting in the same classroom. So I'm not seeing that she's already done this and she's run to play and I still haven't finished my lesson. That pressure is not happening on me because we have all gone through that. So now we can use technology to give this space to each individual student. All teachers don't teach similarly. Can we use teaching methodologies? Can the teachers be empowered with teaching methodologies to empower them to teach in a similar fashion as the other teachers, so that otherwise students, wo teacher to bekar hai yaar, usko samjhana nahi aata. You don't go to their class. Your favorite is the teacher, wo to like smart hai, acha padhati hai. You know that? So that differentiation also does not happen. So what we are trying to do is trying to build an egalitarian system for the students and for the teachers. This system, we can use technology today, and technology is available. Today, this technology, what I'm talking about, is available. These kind of LMS platforms are being developed. We just need to get more and more data on the type of students, the mental health, and the composition of students and the teachers. This will help teachers to learn less burnout, use their time more constructively, allow students to learn at their own pace and have a peace of mind and not be worried about the competition from the next student.
Amazing, Dr. Uma. When you spoke about personalized learning, a memory flashed in my head. I don't know how many of us were like those competitive type kids, but when you're giving an exam and you see somebody else take a supplementary sheet, when we used to write, you're like, oh, they're already taking a supplementary sheet. And you get stressed right there. So that memory just flashed in my head. But I hope that we come to that point where I love what you said about personalized teaching. We're only talking about personalized learning. But how can we make personalized teaching so that teachers also are, they have a easier, and more effective. Their job becomes easier and more effective. I really like that. So, Dr. Seshadri, just to be on the time, I think we have 15 minutes left, but I do want to do a quick round of takeaways after this. So, but Dr. Seshadri, I do want to hear your thoughts because you have so much to share. How do schools create that culture of openness around mental health where parents are involved and the teachers are involved, where it's not a stigma? Because 80% of mental health issues actually don't get addressed because of the stigma associated with it. So how do we create that culture? And you said schools are some of the safest spaces for kids. So how do we create that culture of openness?
I'd like to refer back to the point that Chetan made about NEP. NEP is an exceedingly complex document. Having navigated it, there are at least 20 to 30 spaces in NEP which either directly or indirectly refer to mental health and emotional well-being of children. Now, Chetan also spoke about institutional cultures, which is the point that Divya is coming to. When you look at not a teaching, but a teaching learning as a combined phenomena or as a combined experience. One of the things that I often like when I go to schools is I like to hear children's laughter. If I'm not going to name schools, but there are schools, who speak of 100% results and how so many percentage got into IITs and so on. And all you hear there is eerie silence. Friends, learning cannot occur in an atmosphere of fear and constriction. The constriction of the table. And learning occurs only in an atmosphere of freedom. My own sense of education is informed by 3 seminal texts: Deschooling Society by Ivan Illich, Toto Chan, and Summerhill by A.G. Neal. Summerhill was a school that was run for difficult children, and one of the rules of Summerhill was that education was optional. And the longest that a kid has pushed it is for 2 years, and then he came back and said, I'm really bored with my freedom. Can I come back to class and be with other children? I want to come to the point that Mala had made and the point that Dr. Uma also alluded to. Tools for individual children, the tools that are available from this foundation are important, but friends, with a caveat. When Divya used the swimming metaphor or the swimming paradigm, friends, when a man or a child is drowning, that's not the time to teach him swimming. You save him first, you can teach him swimming later. So whatever tools Mala has alluded to, these are powerful tools, but they are atheoretical. Meditation, relaxation occurs whatever your source of stress may be. But if you look at individual children's stress, the onus of the burden cannot be placed on the child to initiate the process of recovery. And therefore, the role of the school and the teacher to understand that in the paradigm of a context, experience, inner voice, emotion, and behavior, a child's behavior of aggressivity, anger, weepiness, or withdrawal comes from a certain emotion. That emotion comes from an inner thinking, which comes from an experience that comes from a context. So 5 children may have exactly the same context, perhaps parental disharmony. The experience of 5 children may be the same, which is the experience of witnessing perhaps domestic violence. But one child's inner voice is, why did I have to be in this family, when this will end? And their emotion is of sadness and despondency, and the behavior is therefore of withdrawal or weepiness. Another child's inner voice is wait till I'm 18, I'm getting the heck out of this family. The inner voice is one of anger, and the behavior, therefore, is of agitation and irritation. So you cannot tell a child who is either withdrawn or angry, कि चिड़चिड़े क्यों हो, गुमसुम क्यों बैठे हो, and do this exercise and things will get sorted out. It will help, but it doesn't solve the primary problem. So I think we have to work at it at both parts, essentially to build the kind of resilience that Mala referred to. So this is the frame of reference, Divya. My final comment is very simple. Any adult who is present here, if I ask you, what do you remember about your childhood, your studenthood, you'll remember that which is a stable memory. And a stable memory is something that either happened very often, or it happened once and it was so happy or so horrible that it's unforgettable. So people say, you know what I remember about my childhood? I remember that in my house, I had a 100-year-old bell, and it was my job to ring it during meal times, and everybody used to gather, and we had great fun. And now at the age of 50, it has pride of place in my house. You know what I remember about my childhood? I remember that Dad had a government job, and every 3 years we used to go on LTC and planning the train journeys and the cassette player and playing cards, making friends and writing to them on those 10 paisa. Remember those 10 paisa postcards? All gone. You know what I remember about my childhood? We had a tradition in my family to do some work once a week in the neighboring orphanage, and that's where I got my inspiration to do BSW and MSW, and now at age 45, I'm the Director of Human Resource Development in this company. You know what I remember about my childhood? I remember the teacher who said, "Child, you look a little out of sorts, is anything the matter?" What I remember about childhood is night after night thinking, why the heck was I born in this family? All I remember about my childhood is night after night putting my ear outside my parents' door to listen whether they were killing each other or not. So which child and which childhood are we talking about needs to be taken into consideration when we actually support the emotional well-being and mental health. Nobody has said this better than Sudarshan Fakir in the mellifluous voice of Marhum Jagjit Singh. ये दौलत भी ले लो, ये शोहरत भी ले लो, भले छीन लो मुझसे मेरी जवानी, मगर मुझको लौटा दो बचपन का सावन, वो कागज की कश्ती, वो बारिश का पानी, वो कागज की कश्ती, वो बारिश का पानी.
So nice. Dr. Sheshadri, something you said really struck me, and Gurudev says that you know, when a child is born, we teach them math, physics, we pay so much attention to teaching them math and physics, but we don't pay attention to teaching them how to manage their own emotions, how to manage situations. And you're absolutely right. When someone is drowning, you don't teach them swimming. And that's why we need schools at a very early age to start including this type of education as well as the traditional education, so that when the child needs these skills, because you know, adversity doesn't only come in childhood. You can have a golden childhood and then something can happen. So whenever the child needs it, they have it. And I cannot agree with you more that every child's life is different. That's why some things are universal, like breathing is universal, hunger is universal. You know, music is universal, even if you don't understand the words, which I think most of us do in this case. And that's why Gurudev is, you know, his vision and values are that we catch them young, as they say. That every school needs to adopt this. Value-based education has to be a part of education. And that brings me to Chetanji. I'm moving a little bit to digressing a little bit. We've been talking only about schools. Do you want to touch a little bit about how, in your experience, how you have seen in higher education institutions, mental health being, you know, having an impact? Because we hear a lot about, you know, students even in IITs and IISCs not taking care of themselves. I don't want to use the word in this platform. But can you talk a little bit about how mental health impacts learning in a higher education setup?
Yeah, I think taking back my first set of opening thoughts on the spirit of education as a continuum, right? So that's my first input to all the audience members here who would like to now see the continuum, because earlier for me school was one sort of experience. Then there's something unique called PUC, pre-university college experience, which technically should prepare me to take on higher education, technically. But now we actually don't see that happening. Like school has its own set of responsibilities, and then the linking to higher education. That's why I would suggest that we develop something called as a bridge between school to higher education, and this unwarranted discussions on boards, ICSE, CBSE, IB, I can go breathless like Shankar Mahadev and saying what are the number of boards, but it is so many, right? But when it comes to higher education, they all subsume under one entity. Either it's the institution or either it is the system. And that transition is very critical. The first week of the higher education exposure for the child, technically Diksharam of their life, should be very critical. And what happens in most HEIs is, especially the institutions that you mentioned, this is taken not much of a serious value add in the sense, because it's assumed that they write those entrance tests and they're all there and they come in and then they move on. And it's expected that they learn by themselves through peer learning, which is a challenge in today's time because of the excessive time that they spend on digital world, and there's not much of interpersonal communication that builds on, where we have to train them for that. Something which is there inherent, we should train them for that. That's the first point. Second, I think the change in the assessment. During the NEP time, there's one sort of point of reference, that is flexibility and choice among the learners, which came in. That is multiple entry exit. So the reference was we should not create Abhimanyus, right? They enter the Chakravyuh, but they don't know how to get out. So there's not just multiple entry, but also exit to be given. I think that is where the preparedness in the school for higher education is equally important. Because if they have to choose, because there's a lot of choice now. In the last 4 years, there's a lot of choice in higher education. But the preparedness is in the school education. Again, if that preparedness doesn't happen, it exposes anxiety, it exposes pressure, it exposes stress at a micro level. I think this connection is very, very critical. The third, I would say, is the anxiety to perform well. That is, what is your benchmark? Is the benchmark yourself? Because in higher education, the benchmarks are set outside the institution, not within or to themselves. Because placement is the biggest benchmark. Package is much more bigger benchmark. Then the ranking of the institutions, rating of the institutions, much more biggest benchmark. As I go back to the neighborhood pressure, right? Where do you? They don't ask what do you study these days. Where do you study? So I think to all the young minds, I would suggest, don't worry. It is not about what you study and not where you study. It is about how you study, right? So make your learning maximum. Higher education is a space where you get maximum freedom. Make use of it. But that freedom comes with responsibility. As Dr. Seshadri mentioned, sometimes freedom is also not something that you don't know what to do in that. So higher education spaces today are become more and more autonomous to the extent possible. Unfortunately, we have typology of higher education institution which creates structural barriers, like affiliating college to autonomous college to, again, there's a huge list. But what NEP, National Education Policy, recommends by 2030, in the next few years, we'll be moving towards teaching intensive university with significant research, research intensive university with some teaching, and degree awarding autonomous college. So subsume all this typology into these three. It will help both the learner as well as the facilitator, because I know what I'm good at or what I want to do. I better be in that institution rather than force fit myself in an institution which is not something that I want to do. For instance, if I have research as my aptitude, I would rather go to research intensive university rather than going to teaching intensive university. But if I am good at teaching, then I would rather go to teaching intensive, which is where I can add more value. And that is where these shifts are happening. But the larger concern that is to be thoughtful about is what is the preparedness at the school level. Hence, I would suggest, while NEP is a complex document, definitely in terms of the language and the approach, it is half of Harry Potter. I think everybody should read that. And it is in multiple languages. Only when you read, you will come to know the angel in the detail, not the devil in the detail, because you tend to feel that it is something that is out there, but it is very much with lot of background. So there are two versions, the 66-page document, which is I call it as a bureaucrat's version. But there is another document, which is 484, as I said, a thicker volume. Because of indenting and printing, it looks thicker. But the content, for every recommendation, there's a half-page rationale. Why is that this recommendation has been made? So these points that I'm sharing are largely coming from there. So I think it's all about owning the document, engaging with the document, implementing the document, and that spirit is coming in higher education, and that sort of evolution is happening. But if we don't catch up, most of other countries are anyways catching up. And that would mean that we may also lose some of the young minds from the country going abroad. And now that we have ecosystem in place, we have the spirit and the thought in place, I think this linkage between school to higher education should happen seamlessly, naturally. I think teachers from school education should engage with higher education teachers, and higher education teachers should engage with school teachers and students. So make more efforts, right, Ernest, from your own institution, if you could start to, and I welcome you all to our university to start this exercise and experiment where they get exposure to those life expectations in the higher education institution and vice versa, right? And it's not be one way, it should be two way. So higher education institution students should also go to school, go back to, remember Jagjit Singh's song that Dr. Sheshadri mentioned, go back to school and enjoy, and how do you feel? You know, that part of that and vice versa. And I think the last set of thoughts that simply to give a opening up your mind, unpacking the mind is one, to the students who are here, don't get pressurized with regard to performance. You define what is performance for you. Don't give up your definition of performance to somebody else who is outside you. You decide. So it is again, it's not learning for work. It is learning while working also, which is critical. So it's only a transition. The higher education is just a transition which will shape your mindset. And finally, I'll repeat that point. It is not what and where you learn. It is how you learn which makes a difference. So this, I would see this shift coming up in the higher education setup.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Chetan. I do wanna say that I think what you said about preparedness in schools is so important. That's why we need to start them young, so that when they actually go to higher education, I'll speak from my example. You know, I went to IIT, and of course, I was the only girl in my city to clear IIT that year. And of course, you know, I had been top 3 ranks in school, and then suddenly you land in IIT, and everybody is as brilliant or more brilliant than you. So you go into IIT and you start feeling dumb. And then you're like, oh, it's such a shift to higher education. At that time, having skills to manage that competition, to manage your self-esteem, to manage criticism, to manage the level of stress that comes is so critical. And I think our Sri Sri University in Cuttack is one of the happiest campuses, and it's doing a great job of not only providing academic excellence, but also making kids happy. And I'm very happy to say that last week the AICTE chairman was here, and Out of Living signed an MOU with them to provide our programs as a part of the induction. Because trust me, children, just because they go into college doesn't mean their mental health doesn't need support. And I can certainly say that in my entire life, if I've ever failed a course, it was in my first semester in IIT. Because I was under so much stress, and I actually flunked the class. And of course, I recovered and then went on to top my department, you know. But the thing is, there is stress in the first semester that needs to be addressed. And Mala, I'll close the panel with you. We've been told we have to close it. But I want you to talk a little bit about how you have seen in your experience of interacting with thousands of schools and children, how does value-based education really make a difference for children? And if you can, if we have 2 minutes, teach all of us a small technique that we can use to manage anxiety or stress when it comes up immediately for us. We can't learn the whole Sudarshan Kriya in this time, but if you can teach us one small breathing technique that can help us. Yeah.
Sure. Divya, you said that you failed and in IIT and then you went on to top. But I paid a very big price when I played for India. I didn't have the tools to handle my mind, and I lost it somewhere. And I didn't understand, though my inner voice was always telling me it's not good to smoke or drink when you're at that level, or any level for that matter. And I lost my place in the Indian team because of that. And I had to come after that, depression, this, that, and then come to Sudarshan Kriya to even have a smile on my face. But that's where I feel that had I got these tools where I knew how to manage my emotions from when I was young, I would have been better placed. I'm not saying things would have been greatly different, but definitely my understanding of the situation would have been different. My responses would be different. I see it like this. We are given basic mathematics, we are given basic science, knowledge about our body, about the environment, about our country, where we live. We also now, in the new NEP, we do have some life skills training to the children, how to manage your mind. But the experience is, we really cannot manage the emotions from the level of the mind. The mind can be handled or controlled only through the breath. Now this particular thing, this tool that is there with us all the time that we live, this knowledge, this science of breath, if we were to start when children are young, and when they start doing it every day, because practice is very, very important. Even if you know the tool and you're not practicing, it doesn't make any difference. So if schools, institutions, teachers, parents, everybody puts this emphasis for the children to know this knowledge of breath and practice it, their handling of their own emotions, the situations would be very different. The situation will not change, but how you look at it, how you address it can definitely change. And that's what Sudarshan Kriya and Pranayama brings in children. This is what I have seen across the world. I have taught in many countries, many kids. There's no difference in the backgrounds or the languages or the color or anything that they are. And one example I would like to give is there was this child who said, I am one of the top, and there's no problem for me, there's no stress, this very happy child. And suddenly I said, okay, how many friends do you have? And he said, I have 2 friends. I said, the world has so many billions of people, and with 2 friends, how are you going to really become happy and you interact with everybody? What do you do when you go to functions? I'll be sitting in one place. I wish I know how to make friends. So these are small tenets that are also taught during the programs, which help children socially integrate as well as have this understanding, a bigger understanding of life, making themselves happy individuals. And I think many of us here are practitioners of many breathing techniques, but as you said, we'll just do a very small, very simple, maybe 2-minute breath work to see what happens. So this is called straw breath. All we do is, we imagine we are breathing out through a straw, right? We take the breath in through the nose. We will purse our lips, make it small, like how we hold a straw, and we breathe out long and deep, as much as possible. Can we all do that? Yeah? So let's sit with our back straight, and let's close our eyes. As I said, in this, we will breathe in through the nose. We'll make a small opening in our mouth and breathe out long, effortless breath. Once again, a deep breath in through the nose. Breathe out long and deep, as though you're holding a straw in the mouth and breathing out through the straw. We'll do this 3 more times. Breathe in through the nose. And breathe out effortlessly. Two more times. Breathe in with a smile. Breathe out long and deep. Breathe in once again. And breathe out. Relax and come to normal breath. Let's be with our eyes closed. Slowly, we may open our eyes. How many of us felt a shift in your mind? Yeah. If you allow me 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes, very quickly. I feel parents and teachers want our children to be really strong individuals, out of the box thinkers, have a happy life. And for that, my experience all through has been to give them, along with everything that has been spoken here today, also the understanding of our own mind and how to handle that. And that happens primarily through the breath and the breath work that Gurudev has given. Thank you.
Thank you, Mala, for leading us and sharing your valuable wisdom. I really want to thank all our panelists. I think many things were so thought-provoking. I love that examination mela. I hope SSRVM can implement it at some time. And many things you said, Dr. Seshadri, thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Ruma, and thank you, Dr. Chetan, for sharing such amazing things like not only personalized learning, but personalized teaching. And how the NEP is cognizant of these things and how the education, the scope of education and the education ecosystem is undergoing such a transformation. I hope the audience found it useful. I personally learned a lot. And I hope that together we put mental health at the heart of our education ecosystem. Jai Gurudev.
Isn't that truly enriching? Thank you, Divya ji and the panelists for these wonderful insights. We've had many takeaways for implementation as educators. We have amongst us So it's time to felicitate one of the pillars of the Art of Living Foundation, Sri Narasimhan ji. Narasimhan Anna, as he's very fondly called in the Art of Living fraternity. Narasimhan Anna would be felicitated by Ravi Prakash ji, the CAO of the SSRVM Trust. So Narasimhanji is such a source of inspiration for all of us in the art of living. A true disciplinarian and a perfectionist. Thank you. So we'll have a 5-minute break now, and then we'll go ahead with the proceedings. So Gurudev will be arriving very, very shortly. So request you all to be back within 5 minutes. Yeah, just a 5-minute break. Yeah.
Check, 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 1, 2, check, 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 check. Check, 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 check.
Request everybody to have some refreshments. For the dignitaries and awardees, it's backstage. And for the rest, it is on the corridor of the Vishalakshi Mantap. Yeah, Jai Gurudev.
Check.
So the moment that we have been waiting for has finally arrived. So Puja Gurudev and our chief guest are arriving into the venue. So, we welcome Gurudev and the Honorable Minister, Shri Pratap Rao Jadhav, onto the stage. The moment that we have been waiting for. So, I now request Srimati Manjari Gautam to introduce the chief guest.
जय गुरुदेव। पूजनीय गुरुदेव के चरणों में सादर प्रणाम। मंच पर उपस्थित माननीय मंत्री श्री जाधव जी, श्री श्री तत्व के प्रबंध निदेशक, आयुष मंत्रालय की सलाहकार समिति के सदस्य, आयुष फिकी इंडिया के सह अध्यक्ष श्री अरविंद वर्चस्वी जी, श्री श्री रविशंकर विद्या मंदिर न्यास के अध्यक्ष कॉमोडोर एच.जी. हर्षा जी, ट्रस्टीज श्रीमती जैना देसाई जी, श्रीमती रजिता कुलकर्णी जी, सभी पुरस्कार विजेता, माननीय अतिथिगण और प्यारे विद्यार्थियों, आप सभी का आज श्री श्री शिक्षा पुरस्कार समारोह में हार्दिक स्वागत है। हमें बहुत हर्ष है कि आज हमारे मुख्य अतिथि माननीय मंत्री श्री प्रताप राव जाधव जी हैं, जो आयुष मंत्रालय में केंद्रीय राज्य मंत्री, स्वतंत्र प्रभार तथा स्वास्थ्य एवं परिवार कल्याण मंत्रालय में राज्य मंत्रालय का प्रभार संभालते हैं। महाराष्ट्र के बुल्ढाना जिले के महकर गांव में जन्मे श्री प्रताप राव गणपत राव जाधव जी ने 1986 में अपने सामाजिक जीवन की शुरुआत की और वे जिला पंचायत के सदस्य भी रहे। 1995 के बाद से वे 3 बार महाराष्ट्र विधानसभा के विधायक चुने गए और इस दौरान उन्होंने महाराष्ट्र की शिवसेना भाजपा सरकार में खेल, युवा कल्याण और सिंचाई राज्य मंत्री का पदभार भी संभाला। 2009 से वे लगातार 4 बार लोकसभा के लिए चुने गए हैं और संसद में बुल्ढाना निर्वाचन क्षेत्र का प्रतिनिधित्व करते हैं। अपनी राजनीतिक भूमिकाओं के अलावा माननीय जाधव जी विभिन्न सामुदायिक पहलों और सामाजिक कल्याण कार्यक्रमों में सक्रिय रूप से शामिल हैं। युवाओं के लिए कबड्डी, खो-खो और वॉलीबॉल जैसे खेलों को प्रोत्साहन देने, बालिकाओं की शिक्षा को ज़मीनी स्तर पर आगे बढ़ाने के लिए कार्य करने एवं किसानों के लिए आर्थिक विकास नीतियों का कार्यान्वयन करने में उनकी विशेष रुचि है। वह स्वास्थ्य और रक्तदान शिविर, योग सत्र, कैरियर मार्गदर्शन शिविर और कृषि प्रदर्शनियों जैसे सामुदायिक कार्यक्रमों के आयोजन में भी सक्रिय रूप से शामिल रहे हैं। हम माननीय मंत्री जी का श्री श्री शिक्षा पुरस्कार समारोह में हार्दिक स्वागत करते हैं।
I now request Gurudev and all the dignitaries on the dais to inaugurate this momentous occasion by watering the Tulsi plant. What a novel and creative way, isn't it? Tulsi is an elixir of life and so is education. Both need to be nurtured with love and care. Let us soak in the soulful chants from Vedas as the Tulsi plant that symbolizes education is being nurtured.
युञ्जते मना उत युञ्जते धियो विप्रा विप्रस्य बृहतो विपश्चिताः विहोत्रादधेवयुना विदेकैन्मही देवस्य सवितुः परिष्टुतिः इदं विष्णुर्विचक्रमे त्रेधा निदाधे पदम् समूढमस्य भाग्यासुरे स्वाहा.
That was a great start, right? I now invite the chairman of the Sri Sri Ravishankar Vidya Mandir Trust, Commodore H.E. Harsha, to deliver the welcome address.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Param Pujya Gurudev Sri Sri Ravishankar Ji, Minister of State for Health and Family Welfare, Minister of State in charge of Ayush, Government of India, Shri Pratap Rao Jadhav Ji, Trustees of SSRVM on the dais, Shri Arvind Varsha Shri, Managing Director of Shri Shri Tattva, Trustees of other sister trusts in the gathering, principals of the school, teaching and non-teaching staff, and my dear boys and girls, and most importantly, all the awardees who are here present today. Welcome to you all. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all in today's program for the Shri Shri Awards conferment. The Art of Living, under the guidance of Puja Gurudev, has numerous initiatives in the field of education. It has free schools for the underprivileged, contemporary schools associated with various boards of the country, schools in the tribals area and the disturbed area, Vedic schools to promote and preserve our ancient culture. Today, under the umbrella of Art of Living, there are more than 1,286 free schools, 108 paid schools in the urban and semi-urban areas, 10 gurukuls in different ashrams across the country. While giving the basic education, Puja Gurudev has blessed all the children studying in our schools with Medha Yoga, Utkarsh Yoga, and Prajna Yoga, a process which guides the students to lead a healthy and a stress-free life with control over their emotions. More than 1 million young minds have traversed through the portals of our schools and have benefited immensely in their ability to take adversity in their life and excel beyond their own expectations. We have more than 2 million happy parents who are amazed to see the evolution of their wards become able and aware citizens of this country. Gurudev's pedagogy practiced in all schools have a strong connect with the ancient wisdom. This gives the students the unique ability to have a spiritual bent of mind in the early years and helps them to navigate through the stressful moments effortlessly. Our alumni have joined many illustrious colleges across the globe and continue to excel in all the fields. SSRVM has moved predominantly from the school education to higher education space with a strong vision to create 4 more universities in different zones of India. As we speak, we are in process of starting one in the northeast in Tripura. We are also starting an Ayurvedic college in Agartala. Celebrating the aspects of pedagogy which provides holistic education, Sri Sri Vidya Mandir Trust, which runs more than 110 schools and 10 colleges and 1 university, chose to honor these schools and the teachers outside the purview of our own schools who offer education like us. After a rigorous process of selection today, we have invited schools and teachers who have been bestowed with these awards to Bangalore for the Sri Sri honors. It has become an annual event after we have honored the educationists last year for the 2nd time. In this 3rd edition, we have once again included the best teaching nursing staff and the Ayurvedic physician and the teacher. It is our honest belief that to motivate more schools and colleges to ensure that students learn human values and strive hard to make this country great and take them higher in the community of nations. I am confident that this wave will inculcate basic attributes of humanity and mindful awareness in our children, will grow in leaps and bounds and develop an innovative bent of mind in our students to convert more startups into unicorn. As we move out of a colonial mindset and embrace our ancient civilizational values, these aspects of education will stand in good stead for all the young minds going through the portals of these illustrious institutions and our own schools and colleges of SSRVM. I am deeply grateful to Puja Gurudev to have graciously accepted our request to bless this event with his presence. I once again welcome you all to this event and congratulate all the award winners. Thank you. Jai Gurudev.
So I request the chairman of the Sri Sri Ravishankar Vidya Mandir Trust, Commodore H.G. Harshaji, to felicitate Gurudev Sri Sri Ravishankar Ji, our inspiration and our guiding light. I request our chairman to felicitate our chief guest, the Honorable Minister of State for Health and Human Welfare. I request the chairman of the SSRVM Trust to felicitate Sri Arvind Varchaswiji, the managing director of Sri Sri Tattva, Ministry of Ayush Member Advisory Committee. So without much ado, let's go into the presentation awards. Award presentation. Schools and classrooms are places where society and future of a nation is shaped. It is time to recognize and celebrate educators and educational institutions for being such strong pillars of the society. I'm sure all of us will unanimously agree that teachers are the backbone of any educational institution. Growth and success of any educational institution is directly proportional to the sincerity and dedication of the teachers. Let us now honor the stalwarts who work at the grassroots levels, molding and shaping young minds. So let's start with the award ceremony. Sri Sri Awards for the Best Teacher, North Zone. I call upon Sri Sunil Dhimanji to come over to the stage. Mr. Sunil Dhiman's illustrious 24-year teaching career extends far beyond classrooms, encompassing outstanding contributions to cleanliness, environmental conservation, and community awareness. He has been a pivotal force in raising awareness about disaster preparedness among students, educators, and the wider community. His environmental initiative, the Har Ghar Neem Ek Muhim campaign, successfully involved students in planting and nurturing over 22,000 trees. In recognition of his remarkable contribution to disaster management and tireless efforts to instill a passion for environmental sustainability, Sri Sri Ravishankar Vidya Mandir Trust is proud to confer the Sri Sri Award for Best Teacher North Zone upon Sunil Dhimanji, Government Primary School Teacher, Bandol, Kangra, Himachal Pradesh. We now move on to the South Zone, the winner from the South Zone. Sri Sri Award for the Best Teacher from the South Zone goes to Sri Chandrachudeshwaran from Ashok Leyland School, Hosur, Tamil Nadu. He has trained over 1,000 teachers in technology, pedagogy, leadership, AI tools and generative AI. He hosts a podcast and publishes articles in newspaper. Known for the content that he creates, he has touched and uplifted many students in their educational journey. The Sri Sri Ravishankar Vidya Mandir Trust is delighted to present the Sri Sri Award for Best Teacher South Zone to Sri Chandrachudeshwaran Ji, Ashok Leyland School, Hosur, Tamil Nadu. Now the Sri Sri Awards for the Best Teacher East Zone, and the winner is Srimati Preeti Sinha, a strong advocate of belief, raise mentally strong children. She has prioritized mental health by introducing the Caring Conversations program and training the staff to address students' psychosocial needs effectively. Her innovative methodologies include mind mapping, comic strips for literature, and Edward D. Bono's 6 thinking hats technique have earned her widespread recognition. In honor of her exceptional leadership, the Sri Sri Award for the East Zone goes to Preeti Sinha, Principal of Gulmohar High School, Jamshedpur. Now for the Sri Sri Awards for the Best Teacher West Zone goes to Srimati Anjali Bhavani Shankar Dev, Headmaster of the Manibai Gujarati High School, Amravati, Maharashtra. In recognition of her exceptional contributions and steadfast commitment to education, the Sri Sri Ravishankar Vidya Mandir Trust profoundly confers the Sri Sri Award for Best Teacher West Zone upon Srimati Anjali Bhavani Shankar Dev, Headmaster of Manibai Gujarati High School, Amravati, Maharashtra. And now for the special mention Sri Sri Award for Best Teacher, I call upon Srimati Bela Trivedi, a distinguished master trainer and a self-esteem body confidence programs have made significant impact by training 800 teachers through initiatives led by UNICEF and GCERT. In recognition to her innovative teaching methodologies and outstanding contribution to education, the SSRVM Trust is delighted to bestow the Sri Sri Ravishankar Award for Best Teacher Special Mention upon Ms. Bela Trivedi, Government Primary School Teacher, Bandol, Kangra District, Himachal Pradesh. So let us now watch a short film on the contribution of... Yeah, okay, fine. Okay. Now I call upon Dr. Jasmine Joseph, the awardee of Sri Sri Award for the Best Nurse Teacher. Dr. Jasmine Joseph stands as a beacon of excellence, commitment and innovation in the field of nursing. In acknowledgement of her immense contribution towards future generations of nursing professionals, Sri Sri Ravishankar Vidya Mandir Trust is pleased to confer the Sri Sri Award for Education 2025 for Best Nurse Teacher Award to Dr. Jasmine Joseph of Vaidehi Institute of Nursing Sciences and Research Center. I call upon Dr. Prasanna Narasimha Rao to receive the Sri Sri Award for the Best Ayurveda Teacher. In his illustrious and distinguishing career spanning 33 years, he has been tirelessly spearheading projects aimed at improving the health of the society. In recognition of his outstanding contributions to Ayurveda through research, patient care, governance and education, Sri Sri Ravishankar Vidya Mandir Trust is proud to confer the Sri Sri Award for Education for the Best Ayurveda Teacher to Dr. Prasanna Narasimha Rao. It's now time to recognize the educational institution for their overall excellence and their contribution towards a holistic education in shaping the society and the future. We start with the holistic education. Sri Sri Award for Holistic Education, and the runner-up of this award is Satyakam International Meerut. In recognition of its focus and achievements in holistic excellence, SSRVM Trust is delighted to present the Sri Sri Award for Education 2025 as runner-up in the category of holistic education to Satyakam International Meerut. Now calling upon the winners for the Sri Sri Award for Holistic Education, and the winners are Modern Public School, Delhi. Established in 1971, Modern Public School, Delhi is dedicated to providing holistic education that nurtures the intellectual, emotional and social development of its students. In recognition of its exceptional achievements in holistic education, the SSRVM Trust proudly presents the Sri Sri Award for Education 2025 to Modern Public School, Delhi as the winner in the category of holistic education. A big round of applause. We now move on to Sri Sri Awards for Excellence in Education. And the runner-up in this category of Excellence in Education is Delhi Public School, Bangalore East. A big round of applause. Established in 2007, DPS East provides a comprehensive education program for its students, emphasizing the developmental needs of the child holistically. In recognition of its focus and achievements in educational excellence, SSRVM Trust is delighted to present the Sri Sri Award for Education as runner-up in the category of Overall Excellence in Education to DPS Bangalore East. And now calling upon the winner in the category of Excellence in Education, the team from Pushpalata Vidya Mandir, Tirunelveli. Established in 2008, Pushpalata Vidya Mandir, Tirunelveli is a benchmark for excellence, achieving exemplary standards, well on par with the best institutes in the country, with a beautiful blend of academics, co-curricular activities and beyond. In recognition of its achievements, SSRVM Trust is delighted to present the Sri Sri Award for Education 2025 as winner in the category of Overall Excellence in Education to Pushpalata Vidya Mandir, Tirunelveli. A big round of applause. And now moving on to the Special Mention Award in Overall Excellence, and the winner of this Special Mention Award is Jain Bharati Mrigavati Vidyalaya, Delhi. In recognition of the school's steadfast commitment to fostering well-rounded education and societal impact, the SSRVM Trust is honored to confer a Special Mention Award in the Overall Excellence category to Jain Bharati Mrigavati Vidyalaya, Delhi. I call all the awardees on the stage for a group photo. Congratulations to all the awardees. That was such a beautiful sight. Yeah, all the awardees, educators, with Pujya Gurudev and the chief guest. Yeah. I now take this opportunity to invite our chief guest to address the gathering. Okay, film first. Okay. Yeah. We'll be now watching a short film on the educational initiatives of the Art of Living. Art of Living for the past 4 decades has touched every aspect of life and education in particular. So let's have an overall view of the educational initiatives of the Art of Living.
Education is this civilization's greatest leveler. It has the power to empower the weakest of the weak, bring peace to the world, and alleviate poverty. It is often seen as the only lit path in the pursuit of happiness. Gurudev Sri Sri Ravishankar, founder of the Art of Living, believes that every child deserves an education, where the goal of education is not just to make a living, but to make a life. Our students are provided with a holistic education that strikes a perfect balance between the ancient traditional culture and the modern world. The aim is to provide our students with 21st century skills like compassion, creativity, intuition, teamwork, and collaboration to become successful individuals in this ever-evolving world. Keeping this in mind, Gurudev has initiated various programs and educational institutions ranging from pre-primary to post-graduation to sow the seed early on and mold them into being better citizens of this world. The various education initiatives by Gurudev are the Free Schools of Art of Living. 1981 saw the inception of the first free Art of Living school. And today, we have thousands of free schools under Ved Vigyan Mahavidyapeeth Trust in the remotest areas across 22 states and more than 2,000 villages of India, providing a bright future for more than tens of thousands of underprivileged children and counting. The Art of Living also runs more than 30 tribal schools in the rural areas of our country under Vyakti Vikas Kendra, India.
गुरुदेव कहते हैं कि एजुकेशन इट इज़ नॉट अ टीचिंग प्रोसेस, इट इज़ अ लर्निंग प्रोसेस। तो इसको बहुत अच्छी तरीके से यहाँ पे ध्यान दिया जाता है। इसके कारण ये बच्चों में एक प्रभाव ऐसा बन गया है कि ये बच्चों जिस गांव से आते हैं, जिस घर से आते हैं, वहाँ पे भी बहुत बड़ा बदलाव हो रहा है। बहुत सारे पेरेंट्स ने बच्चों के कहने के कारण व्यसन छोड़ दी।
The SSRVM Trust is stepping into its silver jubilee year since its inception in 1999. SSRVM has set up more than 100 educational institutes with more than tens of thousands of students, thousands of educators, and thus far 500,000 graduates. It also has an international presence in Oman and Nepal. Long before the inception of the National Education Policy 2020, SSRVM schools stood at the forefront of educational innovation. Our commitment to progressive and holistic education was not just ahead of the curve, it was shaping the curve itself. About 25% of our students in India go to reputed institutions for higher education. That is 40%, much higher than the national average. Sri Sri Ravishankar Vidya Mandir also has the Sri Sri College of Ayurvedic Science and Research Hospital, which has garnered notable achievements showcasing its excellence and success in the field. An ISO 9001-2015 certified institution located in Bengaluru and Odisha. The Sri Sri University at Odisha, established in 2009, spread over 188 acres of land. Sri Sri University has attained significant milestones, demonstrating its commendable achievements. This distinctive institution blends the best of the Western innovation with the Eastern values and wisdom of the East. The Art of Living, through its wing of Vedic Dharma Sansthan, is reviving and preserving our ancient wisdom and practices by providing Vedic education to over 1,000 students in our 11 Gurukuls spread across 10 states in India. Education is not just about acquiring information. It is also about transforming oneself. To further empower our students with unique capabilities, the Art of Living offers 3 programs specially developed for all age groups by Gurudev. Utkarsh Yoga is meticulously designed exclusively for kids. The breathing techniques taught in the program give children those essential tools to overcome emotions such as fear, shyness, nervousness, anxiety, frustration, and jealousy easily. Medha Yoga focuses on empowering teams with tools that help them take the right decisions, focus better, be more responsible about oneself, kindle a sense of belonging, and channelize their energy in the right direction. Intuition programs enables the kids to perceive beyond the 5 senses and delve into the 6th sense. Intuition is the right thought and the right action at the right time. These programs help in shaping the personality of the individual from their very core. Gurudev's vision is to develop not just the intelligence quotient, but also the emotional and spiritual quotient of our children, allowing students to lead a wholesome and fulfilling life.
From kindergarten up to the university to PhD level, we have provided a platform for children to blossom and be great citizens of our beautiful planet.
Education is this civilization's
There has been a lot of brainstorming and deliberation behind these awards. A set of jury members have gone through the applications and have evaluated them. Let us show our gratitude to our external jury members, Srimati Padma Prabhu and Sri Ravichandran ji, for their invaluable service. I call upon Anand ji and Manjula ji, the administrators of the SSRVM Trust, to felicitate the external jury. So we have had other jury members as well. I call upon all the jury members onto the stage. Srimati Smita Mathur, Srimati Gayatri Rao, Srimati Rekha Kapoor, Srimati Suparna Premlal, Shri Jayesh Panchalji, Srimati Gargi Banerjee, Srimati Neena Nayar, and Mamta Ravi Prakash.
Also have Sri Chidanandji and Rama Venkatesh ji, who has been overseeing the jury members during this process. We thank you for your efforts, ma'am. अब हम अपने माननीय मंत्री श्री प्रताप राव जाधव जी से अनुरोध करते हैं कि वो सभा को संबोधित करें। माननीय मंत्री जी।
यहीं से बात कर सकते हैं, जैसे आपकी मर्जी।
आज यहाँ श्री श्री एजुकेशन अवार्ड्स 2025 के शुभ अवसर पर हमारे बीच उपस्थित परम पूजनीय गुरुदेव श्री श्री रविशंकर जी, सभा में उपस्थित विशिष्ट अतिथिगण, प्रख्यात शिक्षाविद, सभी देवी और सज्जनों, जय गुरुदेव। आज श्री श्री एजुकेशन अवार्ड्स 2025 के इस महत्वपूर्ण अवसर पर आप सभी के बीच उपस्थित होना मेरे लिए अत्यंत गौरव का विषय है। यह कार्यक्रम न केवल शिक्षा के महत्व को रेखांकित करता है, बल्कि उन व्यक्तियों और संस्थानों का सम्मान करता है जिन्होंने समाज में शिक्षा के माध्यम से सकारात्मक बदलाव लाने का कार्य किया है। जैसा कि हम सभी जानते हैं कि शिक्षा केवल एक ज्ञान प्राप्ति का साधन नहीं है, बल्कि समाज के होलिस्टिक डेवलपमेंट का आधार है। यह न केवल ज्ञान का संचार करती है, बल्कि एक व्यक्ति को जीवन मूल्यों और नैतिकता के साथ समृद्ध बनाती है। गुरुदेव जी आपके द्वारा स्थापित श्री श्री रविशंकर विद्या मंदिर ट्रस्ट शिक्षा और आयुर्वेद के क्षेत्र में उत्कृष्ट कार्य कर रहा है, जिससे न केवल हमारे युवाओं को उत्कृष्ट शिक्षा मिल रही है, बल्कि उनकी मानसिक और शारीरिक स्वास्थ्य का भी ध्यान यहाँ रखा जाता है। इस विद्या मंदिर का जो आदर्श वाक्य है, विद्या ददाति पूर्णतम, अर्थात शिक्षा पूर्णता और तृप्ति लाती है, यह केवल एक कथन नहीं है, बल्कि एक मार्गदर्शक सिद्धांत है। जैसा कि मुझे ज्ञात हुआ है, विद्या मंदिर ट्रस्ट एक ऐसे संगठन का शानदार उदाहरण है जो विश्व स्तरीय तनाव मुक्त, समग्र और वैल्यू बेस्ड शिक्षा प्रदान करने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध है। गुरुदेव जी, यहाँ का कॉन्टेक्ट मैं एक गंभीर मुद्दे की चर्चा करना चाहूँगा। हम एक ऐसे समय में हैं जहाँ छात्रों के बीच तनाव और चिंता आम हो गई है। छात्रों द्वारा पढ़ाई के तनाव में की जा रही आत्महत्याएं हमारे लिए बेहद ही दुख का विषय है। ऐसे समय में आर्ट ऑफ लिविंग का तनाव मुक्त शिक्षा पर जोर बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। पाठ्यक्रम में ध्यान, योग और वैल्यू बेस्ड एजुकेशन का इंटीग्रेशन छात्रों की क्षमताओं, इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस और होलिस्टिक वेलफेयर को बढ़ाने में साबित हुआ है। आज की तेज रफ्तार दुनिया में, जहां ज़्यादा वर्किंग आवर्स और वर्क प्रेशर एक गंभीर डिबेट का मुद्दा बन चुका है, ऐसी पहल जरूरी है जहां अकादमिक उत्कृष्टता की खोज और मानसिक और भावनात्मक स्वास्थ्य के साथ संतुलित किया जाए, जिससे वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस बना रहे। यह संस्थान इन सब मूल्यों पर बखूबी रूप से खरा उतरा है। श्री श्री विश्वविद्यालय, आयुर्वेद कॉलेज, आयुर्वेद अस्पताल और नर्सिंग कॉलेज सहित देश भर में 120 से अधिक संस्थानों के साथ श्री श्री विद्या मंदिर भारत में शिक्षा क्षेत्र में महत्वपूर्ण योगदान दे रहा है। गुरुदेव जी आप मानवता और आध्यात्मिकता के अद्भुत प्रतीक है। आपके प्रयासों से लाखों लोगों को शांति और सामंजस्य का मार्ग दिखाया है। जैसा कि हम सभी जानते हैं, तनाव मुक्त और हिंसाचार रहित समाज की आपकी वैश्विक पहल ने 180 से अधिक देशों में लाखों लोगों के जीवन को स्पर्श किया है। आपके नेतृत्व में 21 दिसंबर को वर्ल्ड मेडिटेशन डे के अवसर पर यूएन मुख्यालय में मेडिटेशन सेशन के द्वारा विश्व में फैली अशांति के बीच वैश्विक शांति और सुरक्षा का एक संदेश दिया गया, जिसकी सभी से सराहना हो रही है। मैं आपको वर्ल्ड मेडिटेट विद गुरुदेव इवेंट की सफलता की शुभकामनाएं देता हूं, जिसने सबसे बड़ी मेडिटेशन गैदरिंग का रिकॉर्ड तोड़ा है। गुरुदेव अपने योग एवं ध्यान को विश्व स्तर पर एक नई पहचान दिलाई है। 180 से अधिक देशों में आपके अनुयायी इस बात के गवाह है। आदरणीय गुरुदेव जी, मैं जब भी आपसे मिलता हूँ, मुझ में एक नई ऊर्जा एवं उत्साह का संचार होता है। गुरुदेव जी, मुझे याद है जिस दिन आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी द्वारा मंत्रालय का आवंटन किया जाना था, उसी दिन मुझे सूचना मिली कि परम आदरणीय गुरुदेव जी आप दिल्ली में संध्या काल में पधार रहे हैं और मैंने आपके दर्शन करने का निर्णय लिया। जैसे ही मैंने आपके आवाज़ से आपसे मिलने के लिए निकला, तभी मुझे पता चला कि मुझे आयुष मंत्रालय का स्वतंत्र प्रभार स्वास्थ्य और परिवार कल्याण का मंत्रालय के राज्य मंत्री के साथ मिला है। और इसके बाद आपसे आशीर्वाद लेकर ही मैंने एक नई जिम्मेदारी की शुरुआत की। आपके इसी आशीर्वाद से आज आयुष मंत्रालय परम आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में नई ऊंचाई को छू रहा है। गुरुदेव जी, आज आपके आश्रम में सुबह से मेरा नाड़ी परीक्षण हुआ, जहां मुझे मेरी प्रकृति एवं विकृति के बारे में बताया गया। गुरुजी, मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूं कि ऐसा ही एक देशव्यापी अभियान हमने अपने आयुष मंत्रालय के माध्यम से भी चलाया है और वो आज भी शुरू है। आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के द्वारा लॉन्च किया गया देश का प्रकृति परीक्षण अभियान, जिसका पहला चरण 26 नवंबर 2024 से शुरू होकर 25 दिसंबर 2024 तक चला, बेहद ही सफल रहा एवं उसने नए कीर्तिमान स्थापित किए हैं। उस अभियान के अंतर्गत हमने टेक्नोलॉजी का भी प्रयोग करके बेहद ही सुलभ तरीके से लोगों को उनकी प्रकृति एवं उनके अनुसार उनके लाइफस्टाइल एवं खान पान में क्या बदलाव किए जाने चाहिए, इसकी जानकारी देना भी शुरू किया है। पूजनीय गुरुजी, आयुष मंत्रालय के माध्यम से हम आयुर्वेद एवं योग सहित सभी आयुष पद्धतियों के प्रचार एवं प्रसार के लिए प्रतिबद्ध है। हम पॉलिसी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन में और अधिक एफिशिएंसी लाने के लिए देश के हर एक राज्य में एक अलग आयुष मंत्रालय बनाने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं। इसी प्रकार हर राज्य में कम से कम एक आयुष यूनिवर्सिटी खुलवाना भी हमारा लक्ष्य है और हम इसी दिशा में काम कर रहे हैं। गुरुजी, जब भी आपसे मुलाकात होती है, आपके द्वारा दिया गया आशीर्वाद मुझे और अधिक लगन के साथ लोगों की सेवा करने के लिए प्रेरित करता है। आपके द्वारा शुरू किए गए श्री श्री अवार्ड्स केवल पुरस्कार नहीं है, यह एक मान्यता है उन शिक्षकों और संस्थानों के लिए जो न केवल ज्ञान बांटते हैं बल्कि जीवन में मूल्यों का संचार करते हैं। इस पहल के माध्यम से हमें उन लोगों को प्रोत्साहित करने का अवसर मिलता है जो न केवल छात्रों के जीवन को बदल रहे हैं बल्कि हमारे समाज और देश को भी सशक्त बना रहे हैं। अंत में मैं इस मौके पर सभी विजेताओं को एक बार फिर से बधाई देता हूं। मैं योग्य विजेताओं को पुरस्कार प्रदान करने स्वयं सम्मानित महसूस कर रहा हूं और मैं आप सभी के साथ आपकी उपलब्धियों का जश्न मनाने के लिए उत्सुक हूं। आप सभी ने यह सिद्ध किया है कि शिक्षा केवल ज्ञान का माध्यम नहीं बल्कि समाज में सकारात्मक बदलाव लाने का एक सशक्त साधन भी है। आइए हम सब मिलकर शिक्षा के माध्यम से एक सशक्त, समृद्ध, समावेशी और विकसित भारत का निर्माण करें, जिसका संकल्प हमारे आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने किया है। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
धन्यवाद माननीय जाधव जी, आपके प्रोत्साहन और प्रेरणा भरे शब्दों के लिए।
Yet another moment that we've been waiting for. Yes, it's time for pearls of wisdom from Gurudev Sri Sri Ravishankar ji. Gurudev, could we have your Ashirvachan, please?
Om Namah Pranavarthaya Shuddha Jnanekam-murtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. ಆದರಣೀಯ ಮಂತ್ರಿ ಮಹೋದಯರು, ಪ್ರತಾಪರಾವ್ ಜಾಧವ್ ಅವರೇ, ಮಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಸೀನರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಈ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಟ್ರಸ್ಟಿಗಳೇ ಮತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆದಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಉತ್ಸಾಹಿ ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರೇ, ಶಿಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸಮಾಜದ ಉನ್ನತಿ ಕೂಡ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕ್ರಾಂತಿ ಆಗಬೇಕಿದ್ರೂ ಅದು ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರಿಂದನೇ ಶುರುವಾಯಿತು. ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ಸಂಗ್ರಾಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಚುಂಗಣಿಯನ್ನು ಹಿಡಿದು ಮುಂದೆ ಬಂದವರೆಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಧ್ಯಾಪಕರು, ಸ್ಕೂಲು ಕಾಲೇಜಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅಧ್ಯಾಪಕರು, ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರು ಅದರ ಚುಂಗಣಿ ಹಿಡಿದು ಮುಂದೆ ಬಂದರು, ಅದನ್ನು ಮುಂದೊಯ್ದರು. ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾಡದಿದ್ದರೆ ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರ ಸಂಗ್ರಾಮ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ವಿದ್ಯಾ ದದಾತಿ ವಿನಯಂ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ವಿನಯವನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ, ವಿದ್ಯೆ ಕ್ರಾಂತಿಯನ್ನು ಉಂಟು ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ, ವಿದ್ಯೆಯಿಂದ ಶಾಂತಿಯೂ ಉಂಟಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ವಿದ್ಯಾ ದದಾತಿ ಪೂರ್ಣತ್ವಂ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಆ ಪೂರ್ಣತ್ವದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನಿದೆ? ಪ್ರತಿಭೆ, ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವದ ವಿಕಾಸ, ಶಾಂತಿ, ಕ್ರಾಂತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಧೈರ್ಯ, ಸ್ಥೈರ್ಯ, ಉತ್ಸಾಹ ಮತ್ತು ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಸೃಜನ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶಕ್ತಿ, ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಸೇರಿದ್ರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಪೂರ್ಣತ್ವ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಬರೀ ಶಾಂತವಾಗಿದ್ದರೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಬರೀ ಕ್ರಾಂತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೊರಟ್ರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಮನುಷ್ಯ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಪೂರ್ಣತ್ವವನ್ನು ಅನುಭವ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಿದ್ಯೆ ಬೇಕು. ಆ ವಿದ್ಯೆ ಯಾವುದು? ಎರಡು ಥರದ ವಿದ್ಯೆ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ, ಪರಾವಿದ್ಯೆ, ಅಪರಾವಿದ್ಯೆ ಅಂತ. ಒಂದು ಪ್ರತ್ಯಕ್ಷವಾಗಿ ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳಿಂದ ಓದೋದು, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ನಮ್ಮ ಒಳಗಿಂದ ನಾವು ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ನಮ್ಮ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವವನ್ನು ರೂಢಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಮತ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲರಲ್ಲೂ ಮೈತ್ರಿ ಭಾವದಿಂದ, ಪ್ರೇಮದಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿ ಬಾಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಹೀಗೆ ಮಾಡಿ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಜ್ಞಾಯೋಗ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಯೋಗಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಯೋಗದಿಂದ ಯೋಗ್ಯತೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಆ ಯೋಗ್ಯತೆಯನ್ನು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ಮಗುವೂ ತೆಗೆದುಕೋಬೇಕು, ಕಂಡುಕೋಬೇಕು. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಒಂದು 20 ವರ್ಷದ ಹಿಂದೆ ಕಲಿತವರೆಲ್ಲ ಇವತ್ತೆಲ್ಲ ಅದು ರಿಡಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅದರ ಅರ್ಥಹೀನ ಆಗಿಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇವಾಗ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಕಲಿತಾ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಆರ್ಟಿಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಂದುಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಮೊದಲೆಲ್ಲ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದು, ಈಗ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮೇಲೆ ಬಂದಿರೋದು ಆರ್ಟಿಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್, AI ಅನ್ನೋದು. ಹೀಗೆ ಪ್ರಗತಿಶೀಲವಾಗಿರಬೇಕು ಶಿಕ್ಷೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಪ್ರಗತಿಶೀಲ ವಿದ್ಯೆಗೆ ಮಾಧ್ಯಮರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರು. ಆ ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಇವತ್ತು ಸನ್ಮಾನಿಸಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಆ ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರೂ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶವನ್ನು ಮುಂದೆ ತರಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಕಟ್ಟಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಮುಂದೆ ತರಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಒಂದು ಉಪಾಯವಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೂಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ದಾರಿಯಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಭಾವಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕಳವಳಿಕೆ, ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸಲ ಭಯ, ಈ ಮುಂತಾದ ಬೇಸರಿಕೆ, ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ದೂರ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೇ ಎರಡನ್ನೂ ಸೇರಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಯಾವುದು? ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವ ವಿಕಾಸ, ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಮತ್ತು ವ್ಯಾವಹಾರಿಕ ಜ್ಞಾನ, ಇವು ಎರಡನ್ನು ಒಟ್ಟುಗೂಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಬರ್ಬೇಕು. जीवन में हमें आगे बढ़ना हो तो बहुत सारी चीज़ें हमको सीखना पड़ता है, और सर्वतोमुख विकास होने से ही पूर्णत्व हमको प्राप्त होता है. इसलिए विद्या भी ऐसी होनी चाहिए. ये नई जो एजुकेशन पॉलिसी आई है वो उस तरफ ले जा रही है. हमको एक गुलामी मानसिकता से हमको हटा करके एक वैश्विक ज्ञान हमको दे रहे हैं. इसलिए अपना यूनिवर्सिटी में भी हमने सोचा कि बेस्ट ऑफ ईस्ट एंड बेस्ट ऑफ वेस्ट, पाश्चात्य देश में जो बहुत सबसे बढ़िया है वो भारत में जो बढ़िया है, दोनों को साथ लेके आगे बढ़ा, तब व्यक्ति में पूर्णता प्राप्त होगी. अब देखिए, अब हम लोग यहाँ पर ये अवार्ड की सेरेमनी कर रहे हैं. वहाँ भुवनेश्वर में विश्वविद्यालय में AI का सेमिनार चल रहा है, चैलेंज चल रहा है, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस. इसमें दुनिया के बड़े बड़े कंपनियां सब शामिल हो रहे हैं. उन सब लोग आके सिखाना चाहते हैं और जानना चाहते हैं हमारे विद्यार्थी कैसे प्रतिभावान बन के निकलेंगे. भारत का नाम ही ऐसी यही आया, भारत माने जहाँ प्रतिभावान व्यक्ति रहते हैं. ऐसे प्रतिभावान व्यक्तियों का निर्माण आप सब शिक्षकों के हाथ में है. इसीलिए आपका सम्मान देश का सम्मान, आने वाले पीढ़ी का भी सम्मान है. आप ऐसे ही अपना काम करते रहिए, आप और लोगों को प्रेरणा देते रहें. हाँ, इतना ही कह के आप सबको बहुत आशीर्वाद है. और हमारे प्रताप राव जादव जी बहुत स्नेही हैं, बहुत प्रेमी हैं, और मैं उनको भी कहूँगा कि उनको भी आशीर्वाद है. वो आयुर्वेद को पूरे दुनिया में ले जाएं, सब जगह, हर देश से आयुर्वेद बढ़े और इस देश के कोने कोने में आयुर्वेद हो, आयुर्वेद का वो सब हो. इतना ही कह के आप सबको बहुत बहुत प्रेम, बहुत बहुत आशीर्वाद. ओम शांति.
Truly blessed are we, Gurudev, for the shower of blessings. As we come to the end of this solemn event, it's time to express gratitude. Pranam and heartfelt gratitude at the lotus feet of Gurudev for your divine presence and showers of blessings. Eternally grateful to you, Gurudev. So we thank the chief guest for being with us this morning and taking time off from his busy schedule. Thank you. Dhanyavad Mahoday. Thank you, Bhanuma, for your gracious presence and support. Thanks to all the applicants and awardees for their participation, and heartfelt thanks to the SSRVM Trust, Board of Trustees, and the SSRVM Trust team and to the ashram for their support and coordination and cooperation. Thank you and Jai Gurudev.
पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
All the awardees are requested to go to the first floor Mahavir Hall to give their video bites and then later on proceed to the Annapurna kitchen for lunch. All the awardees are requested to go to the first floor of the same building, Mahavir Hall, to give your video bites and then proceed for lunch to the Annapurna kitchen.